They may have faced their fair share of derision over the years, but set pieces in gaming have made for some of our favorite moments. From the bombastic to the contemplative, a gaming set piece can serve many functions, but it's meant to convey a high point in the narration, leading to conclusions, payoffs, and other consequences. Let's take a look at some of the top gaming set pieces in history. Entering City 17, Half-Life 2. Valve's Half-Life 2 is full of amazing moments, but for us, one of its greatest set pieces is one of its least action-packed when Gordon Freeman enters City 17 for the first time. The dystopia, attention to detail, and atmosphere are amazing, and it is the first time you meet Alex Vance, which is a plus. Surface Tension, Half-Life. The first Half-Life took to naming its chapters, giving narrative direction and a theme to each subset of missions. Ask anyone which is their favorite, and Surface Tension will inarguably come up due to the pitched battles with the Marines and their frighteningly competent AI. The Train, Uncharted 2. The sequence in general is broken up into various segments throughout the game, but Uncharted 2's signature set piece, and one of the most difficult for Naughty Dog to create, is still its best. Regardless whether you're climbing up the train in the beginning of the game or infiltrating it later, the train sequence will forever live on in gaming's history. Plane Crash, Uncharted 3. It's no train, but the plane sequence from Uncharted 3 is still amazing. From sneaking on board to desperately climbing up crates while hanging off the rear, in a tribute to the James Bond film The Living Daylights, or crashing down into the desert, it's an extended roller coaster for both Nathan Drake and the player. Nuke Explosion and Fallout. Nuke exploding and fallout. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The rush to disarm a nuke in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is decidedly routine, until you realize that it's actually close to detonation, resulting in a frantic evacuation, which ends badly. Perhaps most affecting is the fallout, when your character emerges from the wreckage of the helicopter and eyes the destruction around him. Call of Duty has tried for years to replicate this shock and awe kind of set piece, but Modern Warfare is still the best. The Battle of Tuchanka, Mass Effect 3. Forget the final battle with the Reapers. The combined effort of the Krogans, Quarians, and the Normandy's crew versus a single solitary Reaper on Tuchanka is amazing. When you start off this mission, which involves curing the genophage, you have to literally avoid the Reaper's legs before it can crush you. Some sacrifices and an orbital strike later, this still stands as one of the cooler set pieces in Mass Effect 3. Suicide Mission, Mass Effect 2. Broken up into various sections which rely on you dividing up responsibilities, Mass Effect 2's Suicide Mission is the very core of its narrative. The tension in each section helps ease the disappointment that is the final boss. We hope you finished all those loyalty missions though, because the bodies start piling up otherwise. Solid Snake vs. Metal Gear Rex, Metal Gear Solid 1. Plenty of Metal Gear Solid games have had battles with Metal Gear units. However, we'll forever have a soft spot for Solid Snake's battle with Metal Gear Rex. This would be the first 3D battle against a Metal Gear unit, but it doesn't end there. Snake and Meryl subsequently had to escape Shadow Moses, fighting off Liquid in the process. Nuking Megaton, Fallout 3. Whether you liked Megaton or not, there's no denying the sheer beauty and horror that nuking the town bestowed. It's one of those choices that you thought couldn't actually happen, and when it does, you're left with the consequences. That's one way to introduce players to the new age of Fallout. Bruce Wayne taken prisoner, Batman Arkham City. The opening of Batman Arkham City could very well be Bruce Wayne's worst day. Taken prisoner in a city full of criminals, Wayne's secret identity is known by Dr. Hugo Strange. Naturally, he escapes and dons the Batsuit to find out the mystery of Protocol 10. Talk about setting up a story, characters, and atmosphere all at once with what seems to be relative ease. Tip of the Spear, Halo Reach. As the UNSC collides with the Covenant forces, the tip of the spear represents one of the more pitched battles in the series' history. Perhaps it's the sheer spectacle of destroying Spire 1 or the unveiling of the Long Night of Solace. But with a crazy yet well-paced amount of action going on, the entirety of Tip of the Spear could very well be one long set piece. Space and Wheatley, Portal 2. Believe it or not, but Portal 2 is a very good game. It's even better when you reach the climax, which involves battling Wheatley. Somehow that involves heading to the moon, thanks to the magic of portals, and sending Wheatley packing. That's not all though. GLaDOS eventually regains her power and miraculously sets you free. Cake isn't quite guaranteed, but that's certainly one way to end a game. Gerudo Fortress, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is full of awesome moments, but for some reason, Gerudo Fortress continues to resonate nearly 2 decades later. This is due to the stealth portions and the catchy music which set it apart from the rest of the game in tone. With an awesome boss battle waiting at the Desert Colossus, Gerudo Fortress is still one of our favorite locations in a game yet. Making a Choice, BioShock. Irrational Games' BioShock series has always had a way with twists, and the first BioShock is a paramount example of this. There's a conflict ongoing in the underwater city between founder Andrew Ryan and businessman Frank Fontaine, but you seem completely outside of it, courtesy of the friendly Atlas. However, eventually it comes down to what you'd so kindly do. All Gillied Up, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Perhaps the most memorable set piece from the first Modern Warfare, All Gillied Up sees players traveling back to the old days of Captain Price, shuffling through the grasses of Chernobyl to eliminate Zakhaev. In terms of tension, stealth, and awesome sniper play, All Gillied Up is perhaps one of the best FPS missions of all time, and that's not including the crazy escape sequence in the end. Dead Space 2. Visceral Games upped the disturbing quota of Dead Space 2 significantly, resulting in some of the more horrific set pieces in a video game. Walk through that nursery of necromorph children if you don't agree. However, perhaps the most thrilling set piece is Isaac Clarke's battle with the Tormentor. In Chapter 5, their battle takes them from close quarters mayhem to outer space. Sure, it's a mostly linear fight, but the Tormentor is frightening as hell. Batman Arkham Asylum. The trippiest sequences in Batman Arkham Asylum involve Scarecrow and his fear toxin. How trippy can they get? Think navigating a 2.5D platforming level in a nightmarish landscape and avoiding a giant scarecrow, or reliving some of Bruce Wayne's worst memories. Arkham Asylum sees Scarecrow messing with the Dark Knight on 3 separate occasions before receiving his comeuppance, but those levels still stand out as some of the best in the game. Tomb Raider 2013. Lara Croft's reboot origin story contains a number of highlights, not the least of which includes the climactic battle on the cliffs. However, the beginning is easily the most affecting set piece since it involves Lara having to kill for the first time. The experience leaves her traumatized, but also births the survivor in her as she struggles to fend off wolves and other threats. What are your favorite set pieces in gaming? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.